Hi, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another session with Axis Mutual Fund. As you know, we try to see you at least a couple of times a month to help you understand whatever is happening in the markets, a quick market outlook, some special sessions with Shreyas and the likes, where we have our experts come and talk to you, understand what's happening at a global scale, at a macro scale, etc. So similarly, we are here to talk to you about Axis Midcap Fund and about midcap investing, as an overall package. So we've seen nowadays there's a lot of buzz around midcaps, right? We see a lot of young investors trying to get into midcaps and small caps. We also see that there is now a higher risk appetite within the younger investors, which is also a function of the younger investors who've come into the mutual fund space or to the investment space over the last 5 to 6 years, but predominantly after the pandemic. So we are going to get into a lot of details. We're going to get into a lot of nitty-gritties. I would request everyone who's joined us to please add whatever questions you have on the YouTube comment box or on X, Facebook, whichever platform you're viewing this on, and we're going to take them live in the session. Also to ensure we talk to you in your language, sir, हम थोड़े questions हिंदी में भी लेंगे. हमारे काफ़ी viewers हिंदी के लिए भी करें और हम एक special session आपके साथ एक बार हिंदी और मराठी में भी अलग से करेंगे. तो without further ado, let me introduce Shreyas. So you already know he's a legend in the equity space. Shreyas heads equities at Axis Mutual Fund, has over 2 decades of experience, and I think his portfolio speaks for himself. I don't think I can do the service of introducing him. So without that, Shreyas, let's understand the topic for today. तो एक नटशेल में अगर आप एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं कि मिड कैप फंड्स होते क्या है?
मिड कैप फंड अगर आप देखें तो एक्चुअली इट्स अबाउट मिड कैप इन्वेस्टिंग विच इज़ ऑब्वियस, पर व्हाट इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ मिड कैप? क्योंकि मिड कैप का डेफिनेशन है इंडिया में, इफ़ यू सॉर्ट द स्टॉक्स बाय मार्केट कैप फ्रॉम हाईएस्ट मार्केट कैप टू लोएस्ट मार्केट कैप, तो जो 101st स्टॉक 101वां स्टॉक से लेके 250th स्टॉक, ये जो स्टॉक्स है दिज आर कॉल्ड मिड कैप स्टॉक्स. अब इनकी डेफिनेशन चेंज होती रहती है कि अगर मार्केट ऊपर आ तो ये ऊपर जाता है नंबर. जैसे रफली 33 से 35,000 लोअर एंड रहा है इन लास्ट फ्यू ईयर्स, और हायर एंड पे ये रफली 90,000 करोड़ से 1 लाख करोड़ के करीब रहा है. पर ये चेंज होता रहता है मार्केट के हिसाब से. तो ये मार्केट कैप में हम लोग जब इन्वेस्ट करते हैं तो दिस इज़ अबाउट मिड कैप ऑफ इंडिया.
ओके, तो शायद हम मिड कैप में और थोड़ा डेल्व करेंगे, बट इसके पहले if you could help us with an overall market outlook. So we've seen, especially in the recent times, we've seen a lot of volatility. Broadly, we've seen the mid cap and small caps have have come down about 20% from their all-time highs, right? In the last calendar year or so, we've seen a lot of volatility in terms of our own geopolitical scenarios with the recent skirmish on the borders. We've seen Donald Trump and his tariff policies. We've seen the Russia-Ukraine war is still playing out. It's been years. We've seen, the Israel-Hamas thing is also still playing out. It's not come to an end. So how do you think these things are working to help or sort of do a disservice to investments? What is happening in the world?
Again, to just talk in the context of mid-cap universe of India. Generally, India's mid-cap universe is almost 50% in B2B side and almost 50% is in the B2C side, consumption side. So when you talked about all these developments across the world, tariff and Ukraine war, generally such developments which we have seen over last 1.5 to 3 years, which is increased geopolitical tensions, these things have definitely affected global growth, which has affected export stories. Now, export stories are also sizable part of both large cap and mid cap. So, growth slowing down has an impact on export. However, the beauty of mid cap versus a large cap is individually these companies, it's not a blanket statement which applies to all the companies, but for some companies in mid cap, their penetration level, opportunity set is much more lucrative than the large cap. So if you take a large cap, largest export story is IT services. Now IT services, because we have fairly penetrated over last 30-year plus being in this sector, there all these things affect very much, and that's where the growth directly has slowed down to 0 to 5%. While in case of mid caps, there are multiple segments which are there in capital goods, auto ancillary, which depending on company opportunity set may or may not get impacted. So some has got impacted, but some has got impacted to the lesser extent. So this is how it affects the overall picture. So when it comes to the portfolio building, and that's where we try to assess this impact and position ourselves. So say, just to take example of say capital goods, so we may position ourselves more into a domestic capital goods like a power sector, a domestic power sector growth, defense, electronic manufacturing services. So this is where this sector so far has been relatively immune to all these shocks, and that's how the portfolio will tend to look at it.
So another, what I've been thinking about is that, there is this whole AI revolution that is sweeping the world. You have generative AI, you have agentic AI, etc. And, there are services across the world that are creating disruptions. But, sir, we have never seen, the AI language, or rather the whole AI system come into Indian companies, especially in the mid caps, right? Because you have a few EV guys in the portfolio. We have pharma, we have a few BFSIs. So where do you think the EV game, or rather the AI game, plays out in mid caps?
As far as AI is concerned and its applications, so you can have two sets of companies. One is the user, and they're benefiting out of usage of AI, and the other one is the enablers, who are helping other companies to benefit from the AI trend. So as far as enablers are concerned, these companies are part of IT services sector. They are part of some platform companies which are there. They actually help others. So Indian IT services, many companies, they are actually gaining deals to implement AI for their client. Implementation of AI requires actually arranging data in a particular manner so that AI can be superimposed on it. The same case actually came in long time back, almost 20 years ago, when ERP got implemented. So when the global ERP companies, they came out with their software, they needed data in a particular manner, and Indian companies helped in that. So similarly in AI also similar stuff is happening. Along with that, our companies are also bringing out with solution. So this is one side which are there, especially in the mid cap and the platform space. When it comes to the users of AI, and especially in the mid cap space, now AI as a term that every organization is actually trying to implement. So it is getting implemented on two counts. One is for cost optimization, and secondly to improve the business. Cost optimization, as I said, it's IT services which is helping improve business, and using such things which companies are actually improving their business. They're there mostly in the consumption space. In capital goods space, probably that application is not as much implemented compared to a consumption, because obviously it's about AI, and as you're rightly highlighting about EV and such things, in that again it is about IT, because as far as auto ancillaries are concerned, as of now our auto ancillaries, especially in the mid cap space, coming back to the mid cap conversation, these companies are yet, most of them are yet not in that space where they operate.
Okay. Thanks for that. So there actually, I do have a tangential question. I will probably just take 30 seconds there. But where do you think the whole AI / EV / this new phase of business comes in? So, for example, we're naming a few stocks just for discussion's sake. So we have Ather, we have Ola, we have Eternal, which is Zomato, and these guys have been using agentic AI. They've been using some sort of AI to optimize their overall workforce, etc. You also have Ather and Ola, who are using bits of AI to improve their overall production lines. So, sir, do you think how far do you think we are from that inflection point where we say, okay, because of this, we have improved, say, our production capacities by X%, etc. Where does that disruption come in, according to you?
As of now, whatever conversations we have with most of our companies, probably AI is embedded, and its contribution to improvement of production especially, it's very difficult to assess. Reason being, when it comes to production, it is about robotics, right? And that is different from AI. So many companies are actually implementing robotics in their plant, and especially again EV space, where actually you are designing those vehicles. They are called born EVs. While if you are just retrofitting something, then changing the process becomes difficult. When you are doing something fresh, like born EV, their companies are actually implementing AI, and especially more than AI, it is they are implementing the robotics in their plant, and accordingly you are seeing their production processes improving. As far as other industries are concerned, and we can touch upon, say, electronic manufacturing services, we can touch upon even the spaces which are the auto ancillaries, for especially on the electronic side. There again, this robotics is playing role. When it comes to exports, people actually value it a lot, and for the critical parts, the machining part is also a kind of robotics, and the more fine machining you do, actually the more robotics comes into play in that. So these things many companies are doing.
Understood. Yeah. Okay. So let's come back to our hero product, which is Axis Midcap Fund. Now, we know the ladies and gentlemen here are already aware that we have a bottom-up approach in terms of stock selection, and we also have an investment committee that helps us take decisions. So if you could just help understand how we do decide to invest a particular stock or a particular sector, and also if you could help us understand what are the sectors that you think currently a part of our portfolio which is going to propel our fund forward.
Okay. So in case of mid-cap especially, and it applies to mid-cap, small-cap space entirely, first and foremost is we need to understand that these are relatively smaller companies, under-penetrated companies, and here that's where the management matters a lot. So the most of the focus is on assessing the management quality. In many places, actually, promoter play a big role in the success of these companies. So you have to take a holistic approach in terms of how that promoter has guided the company so far, and with increasing challenges in the external world, how it is in both on geopolitical as well as technological disruption side, how he is guiding further. So this overall view on the promoters, the management is of utmost important in case of mid-cap especially. So there we pay a good attention, because the corporate governance issues, whether they are taking care of minority shareholders, whether they have taken care of minority shareholders through the cycle, because when the cycle is bad, that is also we have to understand that scenario as well when you are investing in the company. So these angles we generally take into consideration, which is actually the most important parameter. Going beyond that, and then it comes which are the and where are the opportunities. So if you look at Indian mid-cap space today, then as I said, 50% is B2C broadly, which includes financial services, and 50% is broadly B2B. In B2C, what we observe is, now if you take say financial services as a sector, in which NBFCs, actually most of the mid-cap companies, there has not been many successful mid-cap companies in case of financial services, and I am talking about lenders particularly. While the large cap lenders have done better. So you will observe that in our portfolio, our bias is towards the large cap lenders when it comes to the portfolio, because in mid cap, up to 65% you are supposed to invest in mid and small, mid cap actually, and the rest 35 can be in large or small. So when it comes to choosing sectors like this, the financial services, there we choose mostly the large caps, so to say, and lenders again I'm particularly talking about, because they have shown that they have over the cycles, they have actually done better both in terms of growth as well as managing the asset quality, and that's where the focus has been. When it comes to retail industry, that is the B2C industry's other part. So now there is a financial services lenders, which we call as a B2C. Then there is retail industry, which includes asset heavy industries, basically consumer industries, which includes telecom, which includes retail industry, where investment is required, and then there is FMCG. So our bias has been around this asset heavy retail industry, which includes telecom, which includes retail industry. So you see multiple stocks in that space. So this is generally our B2C portfolio revolve around this. Beyond that, then we have diagnostic. In B2C, diagnostic industry has done better than pharmaceutical or healthcare industry, and that's where that as a piece is a overweight on the consumption side. When it comes to the B2B part of portfolio, the rest 50%, they're the clear-cut winner in last 3 to 6 years because of various reasons. Has been power sector. It is a structural story across the globe. Apart from that, electronic manufacturing services, which I highlighted, it is structural story in India, and third is about defense. And that is the piece. So our B2B exposure has more overweights in this. Apart from that, obviously we have some good auto ancillaries, some other capital good companies which are also part of the portfolio, but these three forms a bulk overweight on the B2B side.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what our portfolio is also showing, because we have about 15.6% in financial services, 12% in healthcare, 11.5% capital goods, 9% automotive, 8.5% in consumer services, etc.
Right.
Understood. So for the ladies and gents on the call, you can go to our website axismf.com. You can search for Axis Midcap Fund and you'll be able to find all the stocks, all the portfolios that Shreyas is mentioning here, and it's all open. It's easy for a customer to go there and view. Shreyas, another very interesting point actually, that I observed was that we have almost 12 lakh investors in this fund, right? And on a monthly basis, we have about 6 lakh SIPs running. So about 1 in 2 investors has an SIP in Axis Midcap Fund. So I just wanted you to help us understand that is there merit in entering the midcap sector via an SIP? Let's turn this around. What if you were a 30-year-old investor and say you make 1 lakh rupees a month? How much of your money would you invest in midcap, and would you do it via SIP? Would you do it via lump sum? And what would your outlook be? What would your tenure be for such an investment?
Sure. So first I'll try to, this is a two-part in this question. One is SIP lump sum versus how much midcap. So on this, the first observation is partly answers both the question. Is in midcap and small cap especially, the large or huge amount is made of money is made because of the re-rating. And actually the huge amount of money is also lost because of the derating. So earning growth is important, but the re-rating and derating part actually plays a bigger role in creating a wealth in midcap or losing in it. And that's why I'm trying to highlight both risk and reward in this. Now, having seen a sharp re-rating of multiple sectors within this, so may it be a diagnostic or on the B2C side or retail on the B2C side, or defense or capital goods or power on the B2B side. We have seen a good re-rating in this part, and that's where the recommendation is to go through the SIP route rather than going on a lump sum basis. The other part of this question is how much and to invest. Here I would and for how long is more important. Fact of the matter is the large caps of India, that is the top 100 stocks. If you take FMCG, IT, large cap banking, credit growth driven, broadly this space we have seen that their growth is too tied up to the nominal GDP growth. And that's where unless the nominal GDP growth trajectory improves, their growth has been in that range. So like take large cap IT 5% growth, FMCG volume growth of 5%, and so on. So if you look at this versus mid cap and small cap space, definitely the growth in and mid and small is higher, and it comes with high valuation, while the large cap is at the reasonable valuation, but the growth is low and tied up to the nominal GDP growth of India. Now in this conundrum, one have to mix. Means one cannot say that I don't want to take valuation risk, that's where I want to go only with large cap, or one cannot say that okay, I don't want to take growth risk, I want to buy only growth stocks and ignore valuations. Yeah. That is also not right, and that's where the mixing is very, very important. Now that mixing, whether it is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 or even higher in case of mid and small versus large, my opinion is it is really individual risk appetite, what anyone has and how long he want to invest. Since you take an example of a 30-year-old investor, I presume that he would be looking at for longer term, like 10, 20, 30 years.
Wealth creation.
Yes. So in such cases, definitely the exposure should be good enough in that, in mid and small. Because I said that yes, there is valuation risk, but there is relatively high growth. Right. On the other hand, on the other side, valuations are reasonable, but the growth has been low, and that's where what we observed quarter after quarter in last multiple quarters. So that's where one need to have both and with the right proportion.
All right. Now I think we're almost towards the end. I'm not going to trouble you for too long.
Sure.
But a lot of we tend to speak to a lot of investors on a daily basis. Very often they say मिड कैप में रिस्क बहुत ज़्यादा है, मैंने इन्वेस्ट किया और पैसा डूब गया तो मैं क्या करूँगा, राइट? एंड वी अंडरस्टैंड दैट, but how would you suggest we answer these misconceptions? So like you said that yes, mid caps have a tendency or some volatility, but in the long run it covers up, right? So how would you address this? So let's go back to this 30-year-old investor who says I am ready to invest, but मैंने invest किया और अगर performance नहीं आया तो फिर मैं क्या करूँगा? How would you answer that?
That's where choosing right combination at the early stage is very important, because it is always said that time spent in the market is more than the timing the market, right? And we have seen that when people get a bad experience, then they tend to get out and wait for a right timing to come in, and that timing is very difficult for everyone. So if some depend on individual, as I said, the risk averseness or so we always recommend that if an individual is really risk averse and still want to come in the market, the right product for them has been the balance advantage, right? Yeah. Wherein you get into the product with mix of debt and equity. So now your risk appetite is low, and that's where it gives you downside protection. Why again such recommendation is, whenever even the balance advantage category, if the stock equity market don't perform or fall, then obviously there has to be a drawdown, right? Because balance advantage category invests up to 50% or plus in equity. If your risk appetite is higher, then you should mix it. But point is, assess it and mix it and keep it. The last part is important. So rather than trying to reassess it, okay, I've gone wrong, now let's sell this, buy again something else, and in that process there is a chance of doing wrong trade at wrong prices. Means there is a chance of selling low, buying high, etc., etc. And that's where right allocation initially is important. So that is the right way to do, in my opinion. So if someone is risk averse, then definitely have lesser exposure to mid cap. I told you the importance of it, and there is no shying away from the risk of high valuation, but the importance is there definitely in a portfolio. Whatever you are comfortable with, you put in the amount, and as and when you get more comfort, increase it, rather than trying to trade in, trade out at a point in time.
Right. I think that's most important. I think what Shreyas has mentioned is also our house views in terms of an investment strategy, right? Where I think, and it actually makes a lot of sense, that is where the power of compounding actually helps our investors, right? The longer you stay invested, the more your wealth starts compounding and starts giving you that additional alpha. Right. So I think, Shreyas, you've been very kind, you've been very helpful with all of our questions. So ladies and gents, the questions we've not been able to take up, we will answer them. You please feel free to write in and we will answer them either on social or maybe in the next session. So Shreyas, thank you, you've been really helpful. I have one final question for you.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is now a lot of investors have been asking me. I'll paraphrase and just ask you one master question. We've seen, so there are tens of mid-cap funds available in the market, right? What makes Axis mid-cap fund special? How do we differentiate ourselves from competition?
Sure. So Axis always has been about quality growth since its inception, and that process of investing continues for us. And in that process, what I spoke about is the first and foremost the promoter, corporate governance, how the companies and the promoters have taken care of minority shareholder over a cycle. So these are the things which forms a large part of assessing the quality of the company. Apart from that, free cash flows, growth, part of it that we anyway end up assessing. The other part is, if you notice our holdings over a longer period of time, we have had good holding in the retail industry, and we made good money in that. We also have, in last 2-3 years, we have increased on the B2B side as well, and there especially in the large themes like defense, power, EMS, as I said. So we have tried to capture opportunities across the segments of the market with our basic quality and growth as a philosophy. So that actually gives a good proposition for an investor, and so that's
all right. Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think you've hit a nail on the head, right? Where we only go after quality businesses. We have a bottom-up approach. And we also mentioned that we have an investment committee that helps us take decisions that ensure only the best of the best make it to our portfolio. So with that, Shreyas, I think we're at an end of the session. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you back very soon. For the ladies and gents who've joined us, thank you for joining us today. We hope to see you very, very soon. If you have any queries, any concerns, you can reach out to us at axismf.com. You can download our app on the Google Play and the Apple App Store. It's easy to download, and we're happy to address any queries and hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.